Yeah.
But that's in large the accountability that it's really hard to find out there when you're joining different groups is that we really want people to engage with us in our private inner circle and stuff and tell us what are you doing and how hard is it to say, hey, I just made 4% today. Pretty easy. How hard is it to say I lost 20 grand? You don't want to. Okay. And so just the idea of being able to keep up with everybody and be a part of this and be part of that excitement and part of those success stories and stuff is enough to hold most people accountable to following the rules. They don't want to be part of the statistics. They want to be part of the success stories, right? And so there's a lot of moving parts in here inside the program that kind of go overlooked. People think it's just a program that I watch some videos and learn how to trade. It's like, no, there's a lot of things that are kind of subliminal too. Just the idea of not wanting to embarrass yourself by saying I broke the rules and I lost my account. It's really quite remarkable how hard it is for me in a timely fashion to tell people about our program because it's not complex, it's not convoluted, it's very simple. But there's so many different avenues that we need to talk, and that's why we do these podcasts, right? Is to kind of get all of that information out in a format of some kind.
We know.
What you got, Brian?
We know that we've got a 92% success rate for those that are following the system in depth. We have over
every day,
every day, over 140. How do we know that? Because we do a daily intake, and our students actually submit. They admit, they submit, and they commit every single day. So they're on an accountability system. They're recording their trading sessions, and they are admitting it and submitting it and committing it to their coaches. Okay, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people, and we get emailed when people have a bad day. Okay.
Yeah.
Not very many of those emails that we get anymore. 92% success rate. This past month, we had, I think, 3 consecutive weeks at 97% success rate. That has been the goal since day one, was to completely flip-flop the norm. It has happened within the last month. That's completely insane. Over 140 students. I think we're closer to 150, 160 right now. Across North America, in Europe, okay? We have 40 full-time traders in phase 2 and about roughly the same number moving into graduating into phase 2. And so that's huge because by this time next year, we're probably going to have about 80 to 100 full-time traders. Like this is like, how? So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. Essentially, this is where us, the founders and the internal team of Prosperity Movement, we like to come together and just have a chat about certain topics. And we are kind of each taking turns picking a topic. So this week I picked the topic. Next week, Travis has the topic down. So that'll be a fun one. And so on and so forth. And we just kind of take turns so we can discuss some pretty hot topics. So this week, we're actually going to talk about risk. So a lot of times when people think about trading, one of the very first things that comes in their mind is, oh, it's risky. Like it's just, oh, there's risk. And they kind of cringe. They kind of shiver a little bit with fear for the potential risk involved with trading. Now, are we here to say that there's no risk in trading? No, that's obviously unreasonable. However, what we do want to talk about is how risk is not nearly as much of a factor as you might think. In fact, the biggest factor of risk that most people don't even consider, and the biggest challenge that our members have, has to do with what we call emotional risk.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll talk about that a lot today. So to kick us off, Travis, what do you think? Why don't you just what do you think about the risk of trading? How do you perceive the risk of trading?
Oh man! So, award for the most open-ended question of the year goes to Zach Shanky. Um, so, what do I think about riskless trading? Ultimately, I think that everything carries risk. Okay, and this is usually the very first thing that I talk about with people if we're on the topic of risk, is that everything has a risk. Getting in a car, I believe when you statistically look at it, is a risk of 1 in 4,000 chance of getting in an accident, right? An
Unless
airplane is actually, unless it's with
unless
Zach, and then it's like 1 and 2. Like there's a 50-50 roll of the dice here. No, Zach, if whoever has not had the privilege to ride with Zach in the car yet, he is a very aggressive driver and is terrifying.
I don't know what he's talking
Um,
about, Zach. I must be a really aggressive driver too, because I didn't find any.
I
It
was
seemed,
I was
you guys were
Brian. I was his DD for the week.
yeah,
for,
yeah, for
for
the
my
week. Yeah, when he came down, I was hitting those doubles pretty hard. Double
yeah,
fisted
not
doubles. Let's go.
no aggressive driving in the Prius, right?
Wasn't the
Seemed like
Prius.
a
Although
Well,
un-
anyways, as far as
unreliable
risk, there's a
start.
lot of risk that's involved. Just getting in a car is risky, and yet almost all of us, I don't know anybody who refuses to get in a car. Almost all of us go in there with it's a pretty substantial risk too. Like the likelihood of being in an accident is really, really high. Getting into an airplane and flying, a lot of us do that as well, and the risk is much lower. It's like 1 in a couple million. I don't remember off the top of my head. But everything we do is a risk. Okay. In my opinion, some of the riskiest things that you can do is not to go take risks with investment. Okay. Because what you're actually risking is spending your whole life, you're doing the whole save 40% of your income, work for 40 years so that you can work on 40% of what you used to live off of at the end. By the way, that doesn't work anymore mathematically because of inflation. And so what you're doing is running the risk of then being poor for the remainder of your years and stuff. Or if you're not in that category and you're okay, comfortable and stuff, you still worked and dedicated almost all of your time towards things that really don't matter in the end. And a lot of us do that. We get to the end of our rope and then we realize that, what did I do with all my time, right? You run the risk of having guilt at the end if you don't have time freedom or develop a way to get time freedom. And you'll hear us talk about that a lot more than financial freedom, okay? Time freedom is significantly more important. And what better way to get time freedom than through financial freedom, right? That's kind of the idea of why we're doing the trading thing. But another thing is, what better way to find financial freedom than through a way that doesn't consume all your time, right? Because otherwise you're just in the cycle of things that just don't matter, right? So that's what we have here. So as far as risk in general, for your generalized question, I think that everything carries with it an innate risk. Okay, and we get to choose which ones are the risks that we're willing to take for the goals and dreams that we have in our lives, right?
You actually
That
brought up,
answer your
yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for. I'm glad I got such an open-ended question for you.
That was brilliant, T Dog. Like you nailed it with every single angle and every single point. Like I love
Yeah.
what better, like, because it's all about time. Okay, well, what better way to get to the time factor than through cash flow? Oh, what better way to go to the cash flow than with trading that doesn't take a lot of time? And so you're just nailing like the
Yeah.
first, well, basically at least two of the pillars out of the four pillars of prosperity, and just like hit.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for
everything
this
across.
episode on our podcast. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Actually, Brian, I have a question for you too, because
Mm.
Travis brought something up that was actually pretty cool. He was basically talking about opportunity risk in the fact that when you have a quote unquote secure job, right? All of a sudden you're missing out on some of these other amazing opportunities such as trading. But how secure versus how risky is a job back in 2017 if you want to share
Oh
that?
my God, not even 2070. I mean, I kind of got a prelude to
Job
2020 for a lot of
security.
people. Like everybody got what that was all about in 2020, right? And a lot of our inner circle during that time and the people that we learned from were completely capitalizing and killing it during that, while everyone else was being locked down and going through a whole bunch of extra stress. I mean, for me in 2017, I had spent over a decade in the music industry. Joke about how I used to live in a van down by the river singing for my supper, like playing to bars or bartenders and empty bars. developed a skill set to get to a point of working with top 20 artists and a Canadian Idol judge, and toured all over North America on $1 million tour bus. I was living my dream, almost $100,000 a year, playing music, benefits, food being taken care of, flights being taken care of, you name it. Like, it was all being taken care of, and got this beautiful family and beautiful wife, and bought my dream house. Wife hated it. I bought my dream house. I bought it before she came into the picture, and then she really didn't like it. Anyways, is what it is. That's a whole different conversation. But a month into my first son being born, it all came crashing down. Got whipped out from under me. Had to start over from scratch. Move across the country. Moved in with my mother-in-law. I don't wish that upon my enemy. Like the lady, thank God that she did help us, but the Bible says leave and cleave for a reason, and that was incredibly emasculating. And it just was a rough go, man. Like,
how much did you feel secure in that job, in that position? Like, how much of a shock was it?
I did, up until like the strings got pulled, and I kind of felt it happening as it was happening in the last bit. And there was no security. Again, like I'll go ahead and say, like, the big thing for me is, if it was just me, you hear that story. Like, I joke about how I used to live in a van down by the river. If it was just me, I wouldn't have cared so much.
Right.
But I had wife and child, and a wife that wanted a second child.
Right.
Like, right. And I'm sitting here like, what? Like, you're crazy. Let's wait.
I actually am one of those weirdos that wants the van down by the river. like I know a lot of people make money and they end up wanting to have like these big mansions and stuff. Like, that doesn't. I want less. I really actually. I asked my wife if I could buy a van yesterday. There's one that's already decked out with everything. She's like, how much? I was like, it's too much. She goes, no, I can't buy it. It's like, no. But anyways, down by the river doesn't sound too bad.
And I think when it comes to like the risk of even having a job, it's almost riskier because of how much that you get blindsided if you are one of the cuts, or you're one of the, what did they call it in 2020? What was it? If you're not like needed or required, what was that? What's the word?
Travis, I just a second. I just want to make it. I see your account, Travis, and you are such a minimalist. That van is something you could probably buy 10 times over, and you're like, no, too much. You are an extreme minimalist. It's awesome. I appreciate that. I would consider myself a minimalist, but you're definitely much more of a minimalist even than I am.
So we have a team member who's been on our team even since before Prosperity Movement. His name is Donald. And the interesting thing about Donald, he used to work at Best Buy for many years. He was one of the guys in, like, he would like restock everything and do the delivery stuff, everything in the back. So if you ever go to Best Buy, you see dudes with the black shirts. That's what Donald was doing for many years. And then because of COVID, he got let go. And now he's like, he didn't know what to do. He had a bit of a skill set in marketing. He definitely had more of a tech skill set as well. And that's where at the time, we were running our ad agency and I needed help. Right. And I'm like,
non-essential. I just looked it up. Non-essentials.
Thank you. Yeah. He was considered non-essential. And so we were able to get his help with our company at the time. And he is still with us today. Just loving working with us, and loves what he does. But that's best.
Now he's essential.
Here. Now he's essential. Oh yeah.
He's like living his little like introverted dream too. Like when you think of those guys in the black shirts at Best Buy, you're like, those are the introverts at Best Buy. Now Donald doesn't need to leave the house.
That's right. That's right.
Love that for him.
So we've kind of covered job security is probably less secure than most people believe. And the sooner
I'd love to see a percentage on that. I mean, like, it's like, because what we're talking about in any kind of, you need to understand your risk percentage and all of these things. Like, when I take a look at our system and our program, it is impossible with proper discipline for you to lose.
Yep.
Like, it's impossible for you to go in extreme deficit. It just doesn't exist if you're following the system.
Yeah.
Like, it like, there's no risk if you can be disciplined. And that's what I think you're getting at, is the emotional risk, right? Because it's
the strategy
I've almost doubled my account in the last few weeks, and I have not had a lost day, and going on over a month.
10-minute sessions.
There's sometimes I'm hitting 2% and 3% in 2 to 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, and right now I just do all SR. It's all support and resistance. Like I genuinely, I used to do push plays. I don't know why all of a sudden it was just like, why? That's to me, the chances of that reversing are very high. And if I don't get the first one, I'll get the second one. Like, it's
so back on that job security, right? Like, I think you were picking up on something there. Like, what are the percentages of job security and stuff? But I think more importantly, a really key aspect for us to realize now is that, and we're not trying to get political in this conversation, but the government, with a flick of a switch, can shut you down, right? As far as your job security. Now, you can't even go to work anymore, right? Like you're not allowed to go. So like, what is that? And so we go into the markets, right? And let's face it, most people who come into trade don't have the proper discipline like you're talking about, Bryan, and they don't have all of the tools that they need, all of the resources, all the understanding, which is not a whole lot, okay? But they don't have all of it. That's the whole point. And they end up and they go and start losing money. And guess where that money goes? That money goes to the people who know what they're doing, right? And so you know who are the big people at the top? It's still the ones that are running these corporations, running these government agencies. They don't want to shut the market down. They're not going to. They make way too much money off of all of the suckers out there that trying to get rich quick kind of stuff, right? And we are going through and disrupting that market, right? Totally.
And that's the problem, is that like people are learning off YouTube, and then they're not learning the most intricate, like most important pieces of the equation. I say intricate, but it's really not, because it's quite simple.
Actually, I was just talking to Janelle about this. I'm not going to say the gentleman's name, but we had a message come in today from a guy who's been interested in our programs for a little while here. He does have access to what we call Job Killer 101 strategy. Okay. It's one of our first early bird strategies that we had, and he has access to it. And it was an interesting message that he sent us today. He basically said, "Hey, I'm really loving this strategy, but I really want in on the other strategies." And so my mind, I go to think, well, if you love the strategy you have, why are you looking for another one? Number one. And number two, my suspicion is that it's not that the strategy isn't working, but he himself knows that, hey, you know what? I am making mistakes and blunders because I'm emotional when I trade. And so I'm hoping these other strategies will save me. Unfortunately, they won't, right? Like, the only way you can get saved from emotional risk is by controlling the emotion. Janelle, we're kind of talking about emotions a little bit today, you and I. What's kind of your process when you're feeling emotional? Like, do you have a process for coming back down from that?
It's the donuts, isn't it, Janelle?
No, I don't eat those things when I'm sad. I eat those things when I'm happy and they're available. For
anyone who doesn't know, we were talking about some really delicious donuts that Janelle had last week, I think, right?
Travis, you're talking about chocolate.
Oh my gosh, I should never have told you. You're already abusing that.
Chocolate cake donuts.
Cookies.
What's the other thing? Chocolate cookie cake donuts?
It's the cookie.
I can leave the podcast. My least favorite words.
So actually, this is an interesting topic, and I've talked with a bunch of students about it this week. Women are different than men. Zach and I talked about this earlier, and the way that our brains process things. So men can compartmentalize. You can say, this is happening, but right now I'm focused on this, and put that away. Women were like a 400 lane highway with construction and overpasses and underpasses and those like clover passes. I don't know. We got a lot going on up there, and we can't just stop all of that and move on to something else. But I like to utilize meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it. And I have like a Zen space in my mind that I've worked up over the years. I practice outside of this, but now I'm trying to implement it for students to go there for like 5 minutes before they enter the market. because that way we maybe can't put aside everything that's been happening, but we can move into a headspace where we recognize that's not pertinent right now. It can wait. It's not like an emergency. My kids aren't bleeding. The house isn't on fire. Nothing terrible is happening. I can trade if I can just calm myself down. So that's how I do that.
It's great.
But I had written down something earlier. I just wanted to say too that with on the risk thing, a lot of people are refusing to take risks because of things that other people are saying. So I've been listening to the Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset, and on the way into town today, he was talking about that, how if you tell other people like your goals and dreams, a lot of people, it's their best intention to like help you not have their failures, but they're like squashing all of them. And then you see somebody else doing the thing that you thought was such a great idea 5 years down the road because Uncle Joe said it was terrible, right?
Come on and preach.
It's like back in the pandemic,
it.
one of my really, really good friends owns a lot of oil refineries and stuff. And I told him, I called him, I was like, hey dude, I think I'm going to start dumping money into some oil and power energy stocks. And he goes, don't do it. That's dumb. My companies are losing money. And I was like, yeah, but they're about to go back up because it goes down and then back up. And I dumped almost all of my portfolio into these energy stocks because I just really believe that they're going to go up, and they skyrocketed. Like, you should look at the charts back in 2020. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I pulled out way too soon. I got a little bit nervous, but that's the prime example of not listening to everybody about, even with their good intentions of not wanting you to get hurt. Everyone, especially the people that you should listen to, probably shouldn't listen to them all the time. Right?
Come on and preach. Seriously though, like, this topic is near and dear to my heart because like I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm literally going through it right now. Some of the people that you would think should be the most supportive in your life, as you become more successful, they tend to be an anchor and they try to pull you down, and they try to pull you down from everything that you're doing. And a lot of times it's for the people you love most, right? And those people should be on your team. What? I don't get that. Why? Like, because here's the thing. If it's not normal, most people look at it like trash that they want to throw away. Yeah. And that is so, like, any type of disruptor, any type of, like, the ones that hit the top, that go the distance, are the ones making some serious decisions. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is a whole different topic in and of itself, but I don't know if you knew this. Indecision is a decision in and of itself. And most people are indecisive, and they are sitting on the fence, and they're sitting by idly, and they're waiting, and they're wondering why they deal with so much guilt and shame later on in life. Or even through the process. Like, where's all this anxiety coming from?
Yeah, for sure. So what I want to do is, we've touched on the emotional risk, which by the way is 90%.
Can I interrupt you I don't have to go back?
Yeah.
Sorry. So we're talking about these disruptors and such, right? Or Bryan was just talking about those and how a lot of people are adverse to those. And I tend to like to embrace those kind of things that are going against the grain, because there's no better way to surefire your way into a predictable outcome. Like, most of us like go to college, have the American dream kind of thing, right? There's no surefire way, no better way to get to those mediocre ends than to listen to everybody else doing it, right? It's the safest route. It's the best one. They always tell you, they preach it. And like you were saying, good intentions. Sure, but that's not going to lift you up. Everyone is still down here.
I'm just going to be real. Some people are not good intentioned. Some people are
entitled. Some people are not, yeah.
Some people are straight up selfish. Some people are, I don't like to say, here's a hot topic for you. We were just talking about this the other day, Zach. What's the word for those types of individuals that are, they don't look inward. They point outward a lot.
What were we saying with that?
Narcissists. Now, I believe we have to be very, very careful with labels Labels are very dangerous. I would never point at somebody and call someone an addict. I would say that you have addictive, like there may be an addictive. We all have some type of addiction. I don't care who you are. You could be an addiction to your phone, could be addiction to sugar, could be addiction to cocaine, could be addiction to cigarette, could be addiction. We all have them. It is what it is. So we all have some type of addiction to something. It is what it is. And some people, that is control. Okay. And I would go ahead and say that, like, I just did a personality test just to make sure. and there is an element of me that like most of everything that was on that thing was basically positive. And the big thing is like, I am one who is very protective over the people that I love and the people that I care about. And so I'm so much love and protective that it can turn into that. And so that's a self-awareness thing that needs to be understood. But here's the thing, narcissistic tendencies with some people are of people that are not willing to look inward and not willing to take constructive criticism, or we would call proactive input. Words are everything, people. Proactive input, and they're not willing to change, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was picking up on.
Yeah, I love it when my brothers come to me and say, "Hey, bro, sharpen Proverbs 27:17. We got to look at this, man. Bring it. Let's go. I'm ready to become better." Right. I'm ready to get uncomfortable and become better. I'm ready to die to myself and find that better version of me. Right. And I think that if anyone approaches life that way with anything in any category of your life, you have a recipe for success. But if you're surrounded by people who aren't willing to do the same, you need to take a good look at what you have going on in your circle.
Yeah. And that's what we do with our disruptors, is that we take a completely different approach with trading. We take a holistic approach, meaning like, who are you? We kind of start with that who type of thing. And this whole podcast is talking about risk. And one of the things that I was really nervous about with our blueprint, which, by the way, anyone listening, if you don't have the blueprint yet, we're gonna show you at the end how to get access to the blueprint. Okay, but in the blueprint, we took a risk on starting with everything except trading. So when people are interested in learning with us about trading, we actually don't take them down that road first. We take them down the more important one, with like the expectations of how to properly control your time and your resources and understand yourself. And like Bryan was talking about, baby, die to self so that you can actually prosper. And that risk that we took to put that in is going to, and it has probably made a lot of people steer away from us. Okay. But the cool thing that it did is it made the right people come in more closer to us, and they're more interested in what we have to do and have to say. Right. And then there's a big difference though, from those who are interested to those who are committed. And so this is kind of a screening process too. And our disruptor is actually pushing people that are probably not going to ever be consistent with trading, pushing them away. And then we get to focus with the ones who are actually committed to the idea of learning. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. So we took a pretty big risk on seeing how many people can we steer away so that we can attract the right person into the community, right? And that's why the average outside of prosperity movement, you can Google this, the accepted statistic of people who are successful going and learning about trading is about 3% of people or so are going to be profitable in any capacity, whether that's $1 or $1 million or whatever, 3%. And
they say between 1, 2,
us,
3%. That's an ever moving number between 1 and 3%.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and those who are committed to us, they quickly realize that when they say, yes, I want to be in the program, I'm committed, they realize that Janelle and Zach and Bryan and Travis and everyone else who's here is also equally committed to you. Yep. And it's that combination of people taking risks together, because we have a guarantee with our system, and we risk having to give you 100% of your money back if we can't teach you how to trade. And that's a risk we're willing to take because nobody yet has not been able to learn with us, okay? And we do have new people that are in the process of learning still. They're in their journey, and that's okay. It's an ever-revolving flow of people, right? So everything has a risk with it. We take a lot of risks with our marketing and with our business to make sure that it is as risk-free for you as possible so that you can be open, receptive to the messages and the actual truths that we're telling you. And it's more about emotional regulation than knowing what button to push.
Yeah.
You got to control your emotions first. And so anyways, I'm off my rant.
No, you're good.
I really quickly, just because words matter, That was brilliant, Travis. However, we are not revolving. We're not a revolving group of people. We are a growing movement of people.
Let's say evolving.
Sorry.
Evolving. No, that's okay. But yeah, we're not revolving. People don't leave. They come
There
and
it
they
goes,
stay.
evolving.
Yeah, that's a big difference from the other organization that we were with. Was the what
That's
do
a
we call that?
revolving
The
group.
That's a
that would be
revolving
called.
door.
What do we call that? Turnover.
Yep, turnover.
rate.
Fair enough.
The turnover rate over there was ridiculous. Over here, it's lifetime, and people are committed, and they are like, and it's consistent.
There have been some folks that they have a bit more of a struggle than others. Obviously, like it depends on the person. And what's really cool is we even have a system to help them as well, to get them more one-on-one support, to make sure that we're kind of holding their hand a little bit tighter, keeping them on the straight and narrow. And then before they know it, they're back to being free traders. Like, go, grow, do it. So with risk, the way I see it is there's two sides to the risk. Okay. There's the side that everyone wants to talk about, which is the financial risk. Okay. And then there's the side that everyone wants to ignore, which is that emotional risk. All right. These are the two sides. And the reason that people ignore the emotional side is because they don't believe it. What in the world can emotions do? If I'm just waiting for these indicators to do this or that should be the end of the day. But no, there's hesitation if emotions are wrong. There's also too quick to click if emotions are wrong. When you get into Forex, Travis was saying the oil thing, he left too soon. In the oil thing, he got nervous, right? And when you get into Forex...
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing back then, by the way, guys. Don't dump all of your money. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That was not advice. It was just a cool story of happenstance. That was luck, and that was all it was. Don't do that. Do as Zach says, not as Travis do. Okay?
Well, as Travis did. Like, it's a past tense.
Travis is good.
You guys are correcting all my words today, and that's awesome because I didn't realize
everybody needs some love and support, bro. We're here for you.
We're not correcting your words. We're correcting your language. Oh,
and your behavior sometimes. Jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
Did he tell you the story of when he first met his father-in-law?
Oh my gosh, no.
We don't need to do that right now. Travis is.
I took a risk on that.
That's my humor. That's my family, so it worked. It works for me.
So I do want to talk about the risk that everyone does like to talk about, which is, oh my gosh, if you trade, you could lose all your money. There's all these potential risks, and so I kind of want to help put people at ease. And Travis already said one of the things that we have, which is a guarantee, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But besides that, there's actually two other aspects to risk that a lot of people think about. One is the capability of losing all your money, right? This is what they say, like, oh, I blew an account, or oh, I put in $2,000, $10,000, and it's all gone now, all eaten up by the market.
Ignorance, though. Ignorance, straight ignorance.
We have developed, and this is not us, like not the four of us. This is with the help of our community. Our community, if they have any kind of struggle, they help us find solutions. They are the best people on the planet. And so one of those members discovered this feature that our preferred broker has that we like to use, and we call it the Vault. And I'm not going to get into huge details, but what the Vault does is you only take out of the Vault what you're willing to risk for that day, be it 1%, 2%, whatever it is. And then if you happen to lose that because you're emotional that day, that's it. You lost 1%, 2% of your account, and you come back tomorrow to get it back.
Yeah. And of course, you go to your coaches to figure out what you did wrong to increase your skill set. Super simple.
Super simple. It is literally impossible. Impossible to lose all your money. It is impossible if you follow our system.
It's like a stop loss for binary, basically.
Exactly. You know? Yes.
But you were talking about emotional regulation. Here's a really, really important one for people to understand. Any emotion is bad emotion in trading. Okay. Yes. Good emotion. Let's say, okay, you went through and the market is working beautifully any given day, and then you make 4% in 2 or 3 minutes, and you're like, holy cow,
Now you're
I
like
can spend
excited.
another
and you're
2 or
going
3
in, like,
minutes,
oh,
excitement,
mm,
confidence and stuff,
Mm.
like those words. You should be robotic, right? There's a system that we use, and it's if this then that, a series of things, right? And so if you get excited and you're like, well, I can do another 4% in another few minutes and stuff, that is, my friend, called gambling, because you feel good and you feel like the market's going to continue to operate in the way that it just
I have to
did.
correct
And
you
that's
again,
not always
Travis.
the
Gambling
case.
is not your friend. Sorry.
Huh?
I have to correct you again. Gambling is not your friend.
That's what he said. He said it's not your
That's
friend.
the point.
No,
Yeah,
I thought you said my friend called gambling.
No. He's saying
I see what you're saying. I'm saying
gambling.
Shut up, Brian. No, okay. I'm addressing somebody. If you're listening right now, if you start doing those things, you're my friend still, but that's called gambling, and it's not your friend. Okay. So yeah, don't do that. If you get excited and you keep going, you're breaking one of our rules that we have. This is a very simple one: is once you reach your goal for the day, stop.
You know
even
what,
if you feel
what
good.
It is? What it is too, it's basic concept, right? Something, you throw something up higher, it has a longer way to fall, right? So like it's excitement is almost worse than like fear.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, think of it like you're how many calories on average is a person of a certain height, of a certain stature, supposed to have in a day, depending on your, like, what does a caloric deficit look like for an individual, right? And so, like, you should be going and hitting like your daily calories, like, and for some people, like, I don't know, Zach feels comfortable at 5 to 6% calories for his trading for the day. I don't. I feel good at 1 to 2%, and I also don't like doing it every day. I find if I do it every day, then that's when it can get out of hand. If I do it every second day,
it's all right.
I've got so much more control. I don't know why, but if I trade every second day, I feel like I've just like, oh, there it is. Yesterday, I didn't quite hit my percentage, but my kids came in the room and my mom came in the room. Everybody started coming in the room, and I was like, okay. I put in one more trade. I won it, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. This is it. Good.
Carry on with life.
Yeah. Like, obviously this isn't for right now. I'm good with it. And so, like,
yeah,
I don't know. There's something that, and I didn't always have that self-control. That came with experience.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something. There's certain elements that we can teach you in terms of discipline, but there are certain things that you're going to need to experience. And what better way to experience than, like, hey, when we first got our driver's license, I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I did a lot better by sitting next to someone and going through and getting taught that way. My dad went and drove with me and all that kind of stuff. Like, anything worth anything, any professional in any professional sport doesn't do it alone. They have a coach. And even in a job setting, most people get guided by a leader some way and somehow, a senior, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, but no, let's go learn on YouTube.
Go ahead, I had a conversation last night with a friend of mine, and not to give too much context to the conversation, but one of the things that we were talking about was, I said, hey, do you remember being a kid? I was like, yeah, of course. I said, do you remember going to school and like dreading school? I was like, yeah, it sucked. I was like, would you go back and do it again if you could? It's like, yeah, I miss it. Like that experience and saying, man, how easy childhood is, right? For most of us, of course, there's atrocities that happen, but for the most part, we have a reminiscence and desire to go back and have things be easier in life again, right? That's not an experience that you can really convince a kid with. So you're going to miss high school one day. None of them believe you, right? And that's the thing that goes through with a lot of these little words of wisdom that we tell people. It's like, hey, don't get excited. Don't keep trading because that's not a good idea. Don't keep putting money if you lost your 2% or whatever. Like, stop for the day. Let us help you through. A lot of people just flat don't listen. And until they experience, once they graduate high school and become an adult, they're like, oh,
it's like
it was so much easier.
It's like the tough kid, it's cold outside, and you as their parent are like, dude, you got to wear a sweatshirt, a coat, something, not just a t-shirt. And they're like, psh, I got this. right? And they go out in the cold, and then they have a miserable experience. The next thing you know, they're putting their coat on, and sometimes it takes multiple times in the cold for them to learn their lesson.
This is the exact same topic that I was preaching. Well, I've been convicted recently. What's the difference between love and reverence? Right? You can love your parents and not listen to them. Like I loved my parents growing up. I didn't listen to them or jack. But the moment I revered them and actually respected them was the moment that things started to change in my life. And like, here's the deal about wisdom. You don't have to learn by making your own mistakes. A lot of people believe that you don't have to learn the hard way. You can learn from other people's mistakes. Yes. That's true wisdom.
So Janelle, I want to talk about the second piece of financial risk.
Have you guys, I'm so sorry, Zach. I have to bring this up. There has to be little breaks inside of this conversation. Do you guys know the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
Oh boy. I mean, I think I do.
Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing that you don't put it in a fruit salad.
That's good. I mean, again, like it's really
apples and tomatoes.
Comes down to listening again. Yeah, totally love it.
So that's second piece. So the first one is I'm going to lose all my money. Okay, we just talked about that. The second piece has more to do with the individual trades themselves, and how like losing one can spiral out of control, and you can lose a whole bunch, right? So Janelle, you coach most of our students. What's the goal in terms of win rate that we set for our students before they go live?
Well, the overall goal is 60%.
Okay.
However, we've implemented some different steps to going live. So if they're not quite at 60%, we have like a program to get them there.
Yeah. Of course. So let's just say there's a member that's at 55%. They're struggling to hit just over that 60% mark. The cool thing about our trading system is that if you win 1 in 4 trades, you're profitable.
Yeah.
So if I break that down from a percentage standpoint, that's 25%. Now, 25% is a little misleading because you could win a bunch of trades in a row and then you lose 4 in a row. The goal is to have 1 trade in every 4 at minimum. If 1 trade is a win, you will be profitable. And we tell our students to be at 60%. The reason is because then they can sit down, be relaxed, and say, I know what I'm doing. I just have to win 1 in 4.
Right. It took me a while.
In other words, they can sit down without bad emotions, right?
Yeah.
They can sit down and be focused on task at hand of being robotic and just doing these things. Brilliant.
So I would say that's a bare minimum goal is a 60%, but it took me a while to get here. I'm averaging 75 to 80% right now over a month.
And I'm usually sitting at about 66, 67, 68, somewhere in that range.
And he hits higher percentages than I do. I just I see, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I just feel it inside of me. I feel convicted that I don't like it. Just but here's another example. Here's another example. James since the beginning of his trading career, he has $50 lot sizes. He has students that listen to him on those calls and have $200 lot sizes. So James averages his, between 80,000 to 100,000 every 6 to 8 weeks, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And we have students that have done $100,000 weeks,
yep,
$100,000 days, $200,000 weeks. Like that's like just listening to him.
Yeah.
And so we've got students just listening to him that are making more money than him, and he still just doesn't move from $50 lot sizes. That's what he feels comfortable with. He loves it. That's what he likes to do. He doesn't he's not a greedy man. Right? He's like, why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like you do, you boo. And
same thing with the cash flow system that we teach, which is basically step 1, right? Is as your account balance grows, your risk can decrease.
Yes.
Not only are you getting more proficient, not only are you developing your skill and being more consistent with it, but you actually use less of your account because the more you have, the more it can compound on itself, right? So if you have $1,000 accounts, okay, 4% is $40, right? And if you have $100,000 account, then that's a lot larger amount of money. So you need less of it to make the same cash flow, right? So unless your cash flow needs or desires are growing as well, your risk also diminishes as your account balance grows. Like it gets to a point where I was like, okay, I could do 4%. For the last year, I've been able to do 4% consistently, but my account's so big. Why would I risk more? I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm going to do 1%. I'm going to do 0.5%. That's what James is doing. Why would I risk more when I'm already comfortable, confident, and consistent with my $50 lot sizes? There's no need for it.
Yeah. Brian, go ahead and show.
Have you guys seen this? Like, I love watching Paul's journey. Yeah, I was gonna say, did you guys see that in the chat? And then why not just pull it up on screen? I mean, Paul here, ladies and gentlemen, been a year since I started following the path. He says, just made my 5th consecutive mortgage payment on the back of about 80 minutes per week. Took 4 trades this morning, got them, and on my way to moving the goalpost a bit. This is a guy who, like, dude was in a big.
I was
position.
So excited.
Massive management position in a very high profile car dealership in Boston. He's quit that position. Okay. This dude is phenomenal. He averages 3 trades a day. Look, he said he
quit.
Yeah, he quit that job. Yeah.
So, the first conversation, I remember the conversation with Paul because Paul was one of our OGs. Okay. With the new marketing that we were doing. And he was telling me, Travis, I have like this, I think he said 7-year exit strategy from this job. And I kind of chuckled and said, hey, you're not going to believe me, but I think that I can expedite that to a lot smaller than 7 years. And he's like, well, I believe you, but maybe it'll be like 2 to 3 year plan or something. I said, we can start there. And as you grow, we can adjust as we go forward. He's been with us for what, a little over a year now. So from 7 to 1 for his exit strategy to be awesome.
To be fair,
I'm shaking.
He's paying his mortgage right now. He hasn't replaced the income that he had. He's a very responsible man. He's done very well and put in savings, right? However, listen to him. I'm moving the goalpost. Like, I'm just so fired up for him. He's having to do less and less trades because that account is getting larger and larger.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first met Justin Singh, and that guy was doing $40,000 trades a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I remember.
What's he at now?
I remember last year, or it was the year before, he did a $2.5 million trade day.
Yep. In a day.
Actually, that was one. From my understanding, that was
that
one
makes
trade,
me sweat.
one trade. That was one Forex trade, from my understanding. But the guy was doing like freaking in binary, like he was just click phone over lunch, like just killing it. And I remember, do you remember that time he was like, my kid hit a button and I accidentally lost 80K?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He left his trading account up on the computer, walked away for whatever reason.
I thought it was his phone, but yeah, either way, I just remember that his son hit a button, phone. And it was like, what? He's like, oh, there goes 80K, and he didn't even care. Talk about no emotion. He's like, oh, well, there was. I guess I'm gonna have to change my behavior around you. He was like, oh. And then
we really gotta let that sink in for some people. He lost 80K and shrugged it off. Like that's it's just even that makes me shiver, kind of thing. You're like,
it made me cry because I'll never forget taking 2,000 to 43,000 a week. That's my record so far. I was doing at one point in time, like the biggest trade I took was like a $3,000 trade. Because as the broker, you grow the account. I think at first, once you get it to a certain level, the highest you can have is $1,000, and then like the highest I was able to get was 3,000. All of a sudden, I can't remember what benchmark I hit, but then I lost 20K in 10 minutes. Oh, I cried. It made me sick. I called the guy, and that's actually where a risk mitigation program came from. That's where it derived from. So it was a good investment, I suppose. In the moment, it didn't. It really hurt, but like nobody's made the same mistake since.
I did it once. It was that you did it, and then I did it, and then you guys were like, "We better probably fix this." I was crying in the fetal position on the couch.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It's funny now, but at the time it was horrid.
it's a painful lesson, and that's why we have the systems and processes that we
I
have.
haven't seen it since then.
So-
I have not seen it in our community unless
Right.
nobody's expressing it. Go ahead.
This is a vital way for us to distinguish between what you were mentioning earlier, Brian. You said you can learn from someone else's mistake. That's true
Right.
wisdom, is to learn from someone else's mistakes. And this right here, what we're talking about, like not blowing an account like that or losing a bunch of money like that, it's clearly not following the rules, right?
No,
And so there's
I
the
wasn't.
people who learn from experience, and then like
I
you're
was
mentioning, we have a
getting
lot that are
excited.
learning from
Dude,
our
you
experiences.
take an account from $2,000 to $43,000 in a week. You start to feel like God. I'm going to be real with you. You start to. Like, I was like, woo! Like my masculinity went through the roof a little too much, a little too Andrew Tate. It went a little too far. Look, yeah, no, Janelle's like, like,
Well, that's the ego part of
Oh,
it,
my
right? And
ego
it's that
took
pride,
right
and it
over.
was the
Oh.
embarrassment of having to admit that, like, because it was like the pedestal thing. I was like the golden child for a while, right? I was like
Mhm.
rocking it in our boot camp group, the like OGs. I was like doubled my account. Janelle's a big deal. And like, oh no, like
Yeah.
Janelle's terrible.
Now,
But that's in large the accountability that it's really hard to find out there when you're joining different groups, is that we really want people to engage with us in our private inner circle and stuff, and tell us, what are you doing, and how hard is it to say, hey, I just made 4% today. Pretty easy. How hard is it to say I lost 20 grand?
Mm.
You don't want to. Okay. And so just the idea of being able to keep up with everybody and be a part of this and be part of that excitement and part of those success stories and stuff is enough to hold most people accountable to following the rules. They don't want to be part of the statistics. They want to be part of the success stories, right? And so there's a lot of moving parts in here inside the program that kind of go overlooked. People think it's just a program that I watch some videos and learn how to trade. It's like, no, there's a lot of things that are kind of subliminal too. Just the idea of not wanting to embarrass yourself by saying I broke the rules and I lost my account. It's really quite remarkable how hard it is for me in a timely fashion to tell people about our program, because it's not complex, it's not convoluted, it's very simple. But there's so many different avenues that we need to talk, and that's why we do these podcasts, right? Is to kind of get all of that information out in a format of some kind.
We know.
What you got, Brian?
We know that we've got a 92% success rate for those that are following the system in depth. We have over
Every day.
140
Yeah.
every day. Over 140. How do we know that? Because we do a daily intake and our students actually submit. They admit, they submit, and they commit every single day. Admit, they submit, and commit every single day. I said it a second time. Just need you to click with that, right? So they're on an accountability system. They're recording their trading sessions, and they are admitting it and submitting it and committing it to their coaches. Okay, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people, and we get emailed when people have a bad day. Okay.
Yeah.
Not very many of those emails that we get anymore. 92% success rate. This past month, we had, I think, 3 consecutive weeks at 97% success rate. That has been the goal since day one, was to completely flip-flop the norm. It has happened within the last month. That's completely insane. Over 140 students. I think we're closer to 150, 160 right now across North America, in Europe. Okay. We have 40 full-time traders in phase 2 and about roughly the same number moving into graduating into phase 2. And so that's huge, because by this time next year, we're probably going to have about 80 to 100 full-time traders. Like this is like, how?
I want to cover one more bit of risk. We've covered basically 3 elements of risk when it comes to actually doing the trading itself. We've covered the emotional risk, which is definitely the biggest factor. We've covered the thought of, I'm going to lose all my money. We cover that with the vault system. And then we covered a little bit about how you have to win 1 in 4 trades, and our traders are trading at least bare minimum 60%. So what about the tuition investment to be a part of the system and the community? What about that risk?
Before we get into that, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you're a very data-driven dude. And this is how we got to this point of being able to set the culture in such a form. And I know that Janelle has been seeing a massive like impact rush that has just happened since we've implemented this blueprint. And I don't know if we've actually got the numbers on that, but it would be really cool to see. But we're seeing people's success expedite. So we were getting success before, but now people are getting it faster because of this blueprint. Is there a way we can, in future calls, actually get some sort of numbers on what that looks like in comparison to before blueprint to after?
Potentially, yeah. I really do believe we probably can. I'm thinking about ways to do that now. Yeah. Well, I'll make a note. Well,
that's where we're going right now. We're talking about the blueprint because I mean, you continue now. I'll let you continue your thought track there. But yeah.
So what about the risk of the actual tuition investment to be a part of our community, our systems, processes, coaches, mentorship, all that? Travis mentioned it a little bit ago. I don't know if you guys remember, we actually made a small tweak to that guarantee as well a month ago or so. And so I want to kind of reiterate what the guarantee is, because this is how strongly we feel about it. And because we know without a shadow of a doubt, if you follow the system, you follow the processes, it is impossible for you to lose. Okay. Will you have a lost day every once in a while? Sure. That's part of trading, but it is impossible to go backwards on your account. Okay. After a year, if you are following the systems and processes for a year, we are guaranteeing that you will, at the bare minimum, increase your account by 100%, double the account. Now, fair disclosure, we always recommend you start with $500 to $1,000. Don't start with $5,000 in your account. Okay. But within a year, bare minimum, 100% growth on your account if you follow our systems and processes. And if you don't,
if you're hitting those numbers, you're not following the system. I'll tell you that right now. That is ridiculously low.
Way higher.
So, but we give you time to make mistakes, and we give you time to learn. So, because again, we were talking about learning from wisdom or learning from experience, right? And so we got to figure out who you are on that one, and we work with you through that time. And so, yes, all the disclosures there. But if you're at that point, you are not following the system.
Yeah. Now, if you are following the system, and part of that system is what Bryan said: you admit, you submit, and you commit. So we should see a submission from you every time, every day. And if you follow that system, and at the end of the year, for whatever reason, you're not at 100% growth, you're unhappy with the result, not only will we pay you back in full the tuition investment, but we will also cover any losses that you experienced along the way during that year. We have not even come close to having to fulfill that guarantee. Not even close. People that follow the system are extraordinarily happy because they're making extraordinary gains. That's all there is to it. So anyway, so there's no risk there either. So at the end of the day, the only real risk involved with trading is the emotional risk, which is why we have coaches to help you, to guide you, to help you out. So Bryan, did you want to
a whole robust support system? It's not just a coach to talk to, right? It's not just the ear to lean on.
Yeah, you say robust, but it's also simple. Simple as I want to say simple as shit, right? It's super simple. You just got to show up and do what you got to do, which is follow the system. Super simple. Okay. And it's step by step, not necessarily easy because, hey, it's simple for me to track my macros and put it in my fitness pal every single day. It's simple for me to it was simple for me to go for a jog and run around the track this morning. Simple for me to do my exercises, simple for me to eat the proper foods, all that stuff. That's simple. Not always easy because I don't always feel like doing it. That's where discipline comes into the picture, but it is as simple as step by step. So simple a gifted monkey can do it. And if we can get a gifted monkey we should one day, man, that would be so cool. It's always an ongoing joke. We should actually get a pet monkey.
Look, Bobo made $12,000 today.
Oh, that'd be so good. Anyways, if you're watching this or listening to this, whether you're listening to this on a replay or you're with us live right now, we want to encourage you, if you have not become a member or dove deep into becoming a member or done your due diligence in proper fashion or gone through the blueprint, which is super important because it's a $47 product for you to do your due diligence. We're giving it away completely complimentary to you. All you have to do is go to go.prosperitymovement.online/prosperity team. go.prosperitymovement.online/prosperity team. Sign up in the calendar. You're going to get some homework. It's complimentary homework. I'd want to listen to 6, 7, and 8 figure earners completely complimentary. So it's homework before we get onto that call. It's going to help you do your
prosperity
due diligence.
team or
Yes.
prosperity dash team?
Either or is going to work.
Either or. Okay, just making sure they get there. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go.prosperity
You're on a rant.
.online/prosperity-team or prosperity team. It'll work. And again, it's to help you not only
roll. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm so sorry. You're on a roll.
You're rolling
just
off the
interrupted
cliff
you.
right now. It's not only to help you do your due diligence, it's to prepare you. The chances are, if you get through that 3 hours worth of material, which you can watch at 2x speed, it's going to increase your chances of even being that much more successful on top of that guarantee. So, no, I love it, Travis. Absolutely. He's chatting with me now. I'm so sorry. Joe Biden.
Pull the Joe Biden. What is going on here? I meant to say you're on a roll, and I accidentally said you're on a rant. I was like, oh, that's so negative. That's not what I meant. Like,
It's all good. It's all good.
You sound great, man. Keep going.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So again, head over to go.prosperitymovement.online/prosperity team. Get moving and grooving. Indecision is a decision in and of itself. Take action now before another government. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this. One last thing. In Canada, I sent you guys a thing about the thing that they got, like media now, news articles and stuff. We in Canada can't share that stuff on social media anymore.
Yeah.
That's a power play with our government that it shouldn't make anybody feel very comfortable at all. So,
Well,
and I'm not saying that for
them because
I'm
I've
not
been getting all my news from memes for the last 3.5 years now. So
yeah. There you go. But point is like, don't wait for another big power move by the powers that be. We're going to be talking a lot more about, roles of, especially, I'm just going to cut it off right now. But the point is leadership needs to rise right now in other areas outside of government. They're supposed to fear us, not the other way around. And so, again, we don't like to get political. We're not ones to jump in a van or a truck and go across country to go piss on Trudeau's lawn. I go do it at the Twisted Lizard and Carstairs because they got his face in the urinals. And so that makes me feel good every week. But the point is that that's not us. But what we are doing is we're here to uplift, empower, and equip you. Okay. Yeah. And come on over to a family that is genuinely in this to help your family generationally. Come on over to not just Rich Dad, Poor Dad reading a book to figure out what you need to do and learn with who you should be learning with and how to back engineer it. I'm done.
Love it. Love it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you three hopping on with me and having this discussion. And we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Adios.
Bye.